we are going to be attacking research today. Part of my challenges today are going to be to generate a new type of research system. Part of this might involve getting distracted because I'm going to start the game. I'm probably going to chat through what my plans are. Part of the problem I have got is that the research machine, first of all, you get it for free, so that's a pain. Building the research lab was the first part of Fortresscraft where it made you step forwards and build a much bigger copper mining operation. So the plan was to put... Part of the problem I have got is that the way I'm actually playing this game through, I'm going to avoid restarting this world unless I really have to. I may have to, but I will attempt to avoid not. I love those lights so much. So cool. Now, I don't mind cheating a bit. That's fine. So what I will do is I'll go later because I really can't stand digging stuff out. I used to enjoy it. Then I played not much Minecraft, which was way too much Minecraft. And I'm bored of cutting stuff myself. So I'm going to get a machine to do it for me. So I'm going to come back in a moment after it's cut its way through stuff. This will be the room in which you control research. Get an estimated time until your research is ready. You're going to be able to control the research still. That's fine. But you won't actually do it here. So what I'm probably going to have is a special hopper here of some sort, which is the research thingy. And we will need to convert research pods, all research pods, into research tokens. I think I'll call them research tokens. I'm not entirely sure, but that sounds a good name. The problem is that right now it's going to require a bunch of work. But what I think I'll do is I'll create a machine that will create the research pods. Now, this is what I said about getting distracted. One of the plans for Fortresscraft is support for a multi-block generic crafter. So the problem with a multi-block generic crafter, I mean the obvious problem with a multi-block generic crafter, is I don't have a multi-block generic crafter. Other than that, I think that's actually a really good idea to implement. Because the idea behind the generic crafting system is I can trivially and easily implement new resource runs. So X into Y becomes not much more than editing a very small number of files. But we don't have support for that. So right now you can't progress any further because of the inability to research. New research. So the idea is initially you will use the dropship. A base ability to collect, store and serialize T1, T2, T3 research tokens, rename research pods to... I also want to fix things like that. At some point you can see the shadows start to leak through because I'm being clever and I'm disabling stuff for performance. Now the reason that I am thinking about implementing this generic multi-block machine, first of all, it will save time in the long run. It absolutely will, but it might not be something I can complete today. The resource I'm looking at is quite annoyingly a recipe that requires 4 inputs. And you can do 4 inputs on a single crafting machine, but I prefer not to, if for no other reason. And lots of people just don't get it. Like you do that and people go, how do I do it? And then you point out they can go sideways. And that's, vertically. And then they're like, oh, cool. I'm also very tempted to not do the research stuff and to implement the new multi-block. Not multi-block, not as such, but multi-part ore extractors. Because I'm quite excited about the plans I've got for those. That will start with a block, what will just say motor, but I've got a really good plan for the multi-block extractors. But yeah, I much prefer doing this than like randomly digging. Performance is an ongoing thing for me. It helps that computers have on average got faster. I would suggest then that I load in a new XML. Again, if you have modded the game or fiddled the game and you want to weigh in with, for God's sake, Adam, don't do it like that, or that was brilliant, yes. I don't think there's any point in sharing the data file between the generic autocrafters and the other one. I also have a note that so the mission report will be gone and available all at one time. Wait, do smeltable ores come back in a different colour? I can't remember. Oh dear. Oh, Unity did not like me pressing that button. I love that. What happened? The game crashed. I love it. When I actually bothered to do a Unity report on what crashed, I so much get responses like, can you just send a copy of the game? I'm like, no, it's 30 gigs. I'm like, oh, well, what happened? And sometimes I've had them going, can you give me more information? And the best bit, it's like, no, because that's all the information you give me. Sometimes it says things like, warning, mesh has no normals. And you're like, which mesh? I have 10,000 meshes. Yeah, I think the marching cube stuff has some sort of fairly nasty error in it, but it only seems to be in the editor. Peter, I'm sure there was a difference between smeltable ores and non-smeltable ores. So I need to rewrite all of this code here. So this is what I'm talking about. When people go, oh, so today someone had a fairly good suggestion. And their suggestion was to do with conveyors that carry power in the wrong direction. And I quite like the idea. But generic autocrafters are 1,800 lines of code, okay? These are not a small amount. Be aware if you guys are playing Fortresscraft 2, don't necessarily expect your save games to remain. That's not planned. I'm sure that ores were cyan and coal was pink. I mean, obviously I'm wrong, but I'm sure that was the case. This is Fortresscraft 2. Dude, can you not tell? What am I holding in my hand? Exactly. By the way, Andy, don't forget, we need to finish the build gun. I don't know whether or not it's... to be fair, Andy, before we give it to Tom, we haven't really decided on exactly what the gun is. Do you see modules on the gun? Do we need to build that in? I think it's got the grappling hook ready. Some batteries. A zoom. Blip blip. A different zoom. I didn't know this was even a thing, Andy. So we have 3 tiers of zooms. We've got 1 battery there. And then 1 battery there. Yeah, the thing is, as with a lot of stuff, it's not necessarily that you like it, you don't like it. It's just not the old one. And sometimes that's all that matters, is it's not the one that you've been seeing for 5 years. There are so many reasons to remove vertical conveyors. There are so many, and almost no compelling arguments to keep them other than, well, this is what we've always done. Yep, and there won't be any more. I'm sure there'll be a mod to put it back in, and I will heartily endorse that mod. But vertical conveyors are utterly nonsensical and illogical and confusing for new players. They really are. I like CompuGasm's solution with the little conveyor lifts, and that'd be cool. I'd love to put those in. That ain't happening for release. I mean, this thing, it will remove some conveyor layouts, but only the conveyor layouts that really you shouldn't be building. This is the Jeff Goldblum. Just because you couldn't work out whether or not you could, should stop to think about whether or not you should. And you shouldn't build conveyor layouts like that. You know, we've got you. I mean, you've all seen those clusterfuck machines that people have built, like little compact sometimes I don't know what they did machines. That happens a lot, and they're just confusing. Whereas with these, it should hopefully never be confusing. The important thing is they are illogical and they confuse new players. And one, I think, of the biggest problems of Fortresscraft is that we have a large number of players who didn't get as far in the game as I would have liked. And I was playing again the other day. It's a Terraria clone with some cool fluid mechanics called Dig or Die. A quite cool little game. And I realised it took me about 4 hours to work out if I even liked the game, because it took that long just to go through the build a house, get some resources, do a bit of research, and I'm playing the game for a while going, I don't even know if I like it yet, and it was fascinating. So that first evening's work, that first evening's play, that first 4 to 6 hour chunk of play should be as idiot-proof and as smooth as I can make it. That's really important, because that's the bit where people decide whether or not they're going to play the game tomorrow. And as I said, vertical conveyors, they don't add anything to the game. They say there are some stuff you can do with them, but you probably shouldn't be. They're not stuff you would ever do in real life. Well, you used to be able to drop hundreds of blocks without fall damage, but that was never... See, that's the thing with the fall damage. I said people complain bitterly about the fall damage, but the game wasn't designed without fall damage. It's just I didn't put it in on release. You know, it came in later on. The quicker I want Andy to make stuff happen, the worse I make it. The worse I make it, the quicker it happens, I found. So this has always been my goal, is to make the placeholders as atrocious as possible. And then so people still say to me, oh, is that how it's going to be? Yes, mate, that's exactly what it's going to be. It's going to be a box with the word Andy Fix Me on top of it. People ask stupid questions. Also like to point out, for the record, spider cores are awesome. So let's use this one as our prototype. You mean, why didn't I use Unreal? Unreal offers 0 features on top of Unity. 0. Not a single one. And supports less platforms. 2, that would involve having to rewrite a 7 years of development in a different language. It would involve having to rewrite the rendering engine from scratch. Fortresscraft 2 is not a new game. Fortresscraft 2 can be thought of as a remaster, a reimagining, a rework, but it's not totally new. A totally new game would have taken an awful lot longer than what we've got. So a new game is a 3-year process for several programmers. There's no way. The Crytek engine, fuck off. I've written games freshly in the Crytek engine. Never, ever again. It was the worst possible horror lumberyard. It's Crytek. Don't let me be entirely negative. If you want to write a game that's set on a beautiful tropical island where you're fighting terrorists, trust me, Crytek engine, that is the bee's knees. Anything else? No, don't do it. So we're going to call this the Tier 1 Research Token Assembler. But yeah, realistically, there is no chance at all that I could possibly have considered rewriting the game in a different engine. It's just not feasible. What's native controllers? You mean, no. Dude, where do you think I have got the time or the money to do these things? Like, what you're talking about there is a complete rework of all of the UI. All of it. Again, you're looking at a year to 18 months of work to 3 people. I'd love to, but hey, Starbound hasn't got it. I ain't gonna bother. So I thought you meant like Steam controller support. I mean, I don't believe there isn't much you can't map to the pad, but the thing you can't do on the pad, for example, would be interacting with the UI. And just trying to get a decent inventory system is so difficult. The closest game I've come to seeing it is Diablo 3, which has a shit inventory system on pad, and it's still light years better than anything else I've seen. Everything else I've seen has just been embarrassingly awful or outright hostile to the player, whereas Diablo's 3 is merely bad. Like Terraria has no specific pad support. They just give you a cursor you move around, and it's just not feasible. I've had very few people call for pad support. I keep poking my publisher because they did promise me that we were doing a console version, and it's not happened yet. And the idea was, well, this was the plan. So the plan was, you see, that we would ship Fortresscraft and then it would get ported to consoles. I would take some of the work done on that and port it in Fortresscraft 2, because part of the work involved would be implementing pad support, and I would take that back. But it's just not happened. It's just not. And I have poked them, and I last messaged them. Conversely, and this is something so as you know, I do prototype other projects, and I also have a great number of gamepads. I am shocked at the number of games that don't have pad support. I am also shocked at the number of games that just overcomplicate stuff. I'd love to have Terraria simplified so it was playable on a pad. I would really, really like that, because I love Terraria, but I don't really want to have to faff around on the pad, and I don't really want to play on keyboard and mouse. I just want to slouch back on my sofa and play it. But the Terraria control system is bad, and the game is far too complicated for a pad. Like, you know, all the house building stuff. It's such a pain. And then I keep thinking to myself that I should take a complex genre and not dumb it down. That is definitely a negative thing. But simplify it so it works well on a pad. Take the bits of the game that are really good and get rid of the bits, basically, that don't work on a pad. I am not having a publisher for 2 unless a spectacularly good offer comes along, which I'm not really expecting it to. So I am free to. I don't plan to. Yeah, so what happened with the original 360 Terraria, which might answer your question as to why I'm not doing pad support. Terraria had a fork. They then had the console version. They took the console version and tried to keep it in sync with the PC version, and then they decided that was too much work. So what they did is they then reported the PC version and added very minimal pad support, and they've just done that, which is bizarre. Would I consider Epic exclusive? Yes, of course I fucking would. I have seen ballpark figures for how much some games have been paid to go onto the Unreal Store, and you're talking in the $7 to $15 million. So, yeah, I would. Would I be worried about a possible backlash? Well, say for argument, Salath. Well, it depends. If the Epic Store offered me $5,000, I'd say no, because Fortresscraft made more than $5,000. If they offered me $10 million, I would say yes, because Fortresscraft made less than $10 million. If they offered me $1 million, despite being technically less than Fortresscraft made in total, I would still say yes, for the fairly obvious reason it's $1 million of guaranteed money. As far as I know, and I haven't really followed it, so don't have a go at me. As far as I know, Satisfactory was a flash in the pan. Everyone went, oh, so pretty, and they played it and went, very pretty. And then everyone went back to Factorio. Like, it was a definite brief project, as far as I know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't follow that. I'm sure some people stream it, but as far as I know, player numbers came and it went. It was everyone was very excited about it when they couldn't play it, and as soon as they could play it, not so excited. I tell you what I could do with. I really wish I had a super fan of Fortresscraft 2 who's also really good at videos. Because we were putting in so much cool new stuff into Fortresscraft 2, and I'm not very good at showcasing it, fortunately. And it'd be nice to have people showing it. So again, with Satisfactory or Factorio would crank out one video a week showcasing a new feature all the time. So people see stuff and they get excited about it. But of course, for me, because it's just me, I'd be doing the video. And if I'm doing the video, every time I do one, we would be losing a day of programming time. But yeah, I just wish I had someone who just kept on cranking out videos, but I don't really know anyone. Those people can fuck off. It's a bit different because right now this is just me chatting. This is just you guys being. So this is the point. You see, this is me being normal and you guys being fucking weird. Because right now you're sitting there watching me work, watching me do my job. That's weird. But when it's a video going, hey guys, we're gonna show you the new machine. It's cool. Look, here we go. We do this and this. It's different. Oh, well, that guy was a twat, so that's different. I did a video on... Yeah, here we go. This is an example. Oh my god, how old is this? Are you sitting on the subwoofer? Yeah, so this is a...
Just wanted to show you a bit more about the robot arms.
Me being polite, you see, and explain to people how the robot arms worked. Wow, May 2014. These are the robot arms that, in the end, we didn't use. But this sort of thing, a video, but more tightly edited than this. I'm very bad at editing stuff. Showing off features once they're done. That sort of thing. 4,000 people actually bothered to watch the robot arm tutorial. But on a constant basis, you know, weekly. And then I did a 57-second... Yeah.
What I've been doing today. So...
Of me talking, my voice. So yeah, then I just get shit like this. Quite annoying how you think this game is ever going to be played again. Wait, why can't... Oh, I'm not on the wrong account. Once a feature's done, or it looks good, just showing it off to people so they know what's coming, rather than sort of getting to the end of the game going, hey, surprise. You don't generally just sort of make it, you know, you script it. That person would say, hey, so what's this machine? I go, oh, it does that, does this. And you go, righto. And it's a bit more complex than what we've, you know, what we just do, which is just to sit down and make it. But it's that sort of thing that unfortunately I can't do because I don't have another person I can assign to doing these sorts of things. Yeah, I can do, but no. So what I'm talking about is someone who is working with me, essentially putting out one video a week, just a short video, a minute long, going, in Fortresscraft 2, we're going to do this. Or even in Fortresscraft 2, we're doing this, and it was in Fortresscraft 1, but nobody knows about it. As I said, Satisfactory did a great job of this. Everyone was very excited about it. They made a lot of money. And then as far as I know, when it came out, everyone kind of went, oh, it's alright. Yeah, it's alright. But not, oh my god, this is the best thing. I would never play Minecraft or Factorio ever again. Nope. It just went, oh, that's pretty. And then it's very pretty. It is an extremely pretty game, Satisfactory. And it genuinely is lovely. It's just not I don't want to say it's not a very good game. That's harsh. But essentially, in order to have such a nice game, you had to make sacrifices. Oh, well, you can't go big with it. Satisfactory. I mean, you can't. It don't work. It just collapses under an issue of too many polygons. There is one guy I watch, rather hilarious guy. He did a very, very, very big Satisfactory base, and it didn't work. I mean, it didn't even work slightly. It just collapsed to like, 3 frames a second. And I keep wishing that he would play Fortresscraft, because genuinely I like try and overdo it in Fortresscraft. Direwolf tries, it doesn't let you. I mean, well, it does let you, but it doesn't care. It's like, yeah, alright, I'll draw that. Yeah, alright. And it's like, you know, if you put this in a room, it'd still be doing 60 frames a second. Yeah, game it out, yeah. I didn't watch many of the Satisfactory ones because it just didn't work, but that man cracks me up like no one else. Like, honestly, it's just so funny. His stuff is brilliant. Like, really, really, really funny. I very rarely laugh at watching, you know, you go lol, but you just sort of go but genuinely, yeah, absolutely, just, yeah, in tears. So good. If you've not watched Josh from Game It Out, honestly, but he purposely plays games, he purposely plays them wrong, like purposely wrong, and hilarity. So the one where he did the cooking one, and it's not VR, but it's kind of like it's a physicsy based cooking one, and he just like, what did he serve? Just like raw pork with glass in it, and they went 7 out of 10 for presentation, but only 2 out of 10 for ingredients, and then they gave him a 5-star review and stuff like that. Yeah, the thing is with Fortresscraft is he tends to rely very much on physics-based hilarities, which is fine. But realistically, Fortresscraft has very little in the scope of funny-based stuff. Fortresscraft, though, like I said, unlike Satisfactory, don't give a shit what you do. It will take anything you throw at it happily. I keep thinking about contacting him from Fortresscraft 2, going, hey, I've got this game coming out. I'd love you to try and overdo it. I'd love you to try and break it. Murder the frame rate. Build too many machines and just watch him fail. The biggest mass store, I don't think I've got the world anymore. So someone said, oh, I'm having a problem with my world's frame rate. So as you may or may not remember, I would do what was called a world surgery once every couple of weeks. And people would send me their world and tell me what was wrong with it. And I would try and fix it. In this case, the issue was the frame rate was bad. Now, do you remember the auto builder machine? So the auto builder machine was designed to build conveyor runs. I think it's still in the game. As far as I know, it's still in the game. What this person did was they connected the auto builder to set it up to build mass storage, connected the mass storage to the auto builder, so the auto builder had unlimited resources. And then they spread out the width of the auto builder array by about 200 meters. So by the time I got to the game, they had made a mass storage system 200 meters wide and about 2 kilometers long. And they were saying to me, hey, What can you do to help to fix the frame rate? And I'm like, dude, are you joking me? And I did, to be fair, I did do a lot of optimization, but realistically, and let me just be very clear here, don't do that. Well, his main issue was the fact it was pre-room, so his main issue was the fact it didn't really do all it could. Yeah, this is the map table. You asked where Fortresscraft was, and I thought it was best to show you with things. It also shows you where all the hive minds are, but it takes a little while. But yeah, you can see the hive minds. You can actually see the hives, the growth, and you can also tell. Obviously, I mean, it hasn't loaded in yet, but for example, that blob there is definitely a hive mind. There's no way that's not a hive mind. That's a hive mind. But the game hasn't ever loaded that segment on this run. It has no reason to. It will, but it hasn't yet. So what will happen is you'll get your map, but you'll get sort of a fog of war over stuff I'm not sure about for this run. So the game is currently, once you have a base, it will also help. Once you get hive attacks, it will help. But you can see the tunnel nukers doing their job as well. Isn't that cool? So that's in the Patreon build. Manufacturing plants are new. Oh, I've queued up 75 of that. Yeah, so these are non-automatable crafting machines. This one's out of power. That one's got to take the hand off. That one's not working. So we actually these are new. So these only work inside the base. These can't be automatable. I do also have a to-do note. Like when you're outside the base, everything inside the base should turn off. Rendering doesn't do that currently. But you know, you get the CC map in Fortresscraft if you never used it. It's in Fortresscraft, the map. It's really good. If you build the CC map on the surface in Fortresscraft, you get a surface map. Those are improvements to existing Fortresscraft technology. It's probably a good example. When people say to me, you know, is it a new game? No, but it's definitely better, isn't it? I'd love to do a better map that actually is proper 3D rather than simply height map tessellation, but unfortunately that ain't gonna happen. Again, if I had a junior or 5 juniors, that'd be something that goes onto their to-do list. The CC map, it's a set. As soon as you can build it, you should build it. So we're now on, the game has correctly detected I am on exploration. Explore the surface, build a room. So what I have to do at this point is I have to ensure the surface is fully paged in via powered beacons. I can't do that yet because I haven't implemented beacons. That's cool. Yeah. This gives it a very Half-Life feel. I love the... You can't quite see through it. Half-Life 2 did a lot of these sort of things, and it was really cool. Yeah, I was watching Direwolf play, and he teleported somewhere. No, it's not to do with diffusion. It's to do with the fact that I'm cheating with fog and ambient and stuff. So you add a lot of ambient because you're outside, but you can't really have like per pixel ambient. Ambient is a global thing. So as I go inside, you can see it fades. And as I run outside, you see it fades up. But like, it's instant. It's just because Direwolf's running out and you can see it generating into the distance still. I've never been here before. That's generate, not load. That's insane. If I go back to here again, bang. It's as quick as it's crazy how quick that is, and I'm really pleased with that. Don't get me wrong, ain't happening if you're on a dual core, but I'm now making better use of higher tier CPUs. Let me talk very briefly about the marching cube. So I've mentioned it before. I suspect I'll mention it every single stream until the game ships, and then afterwards. Marching cubes is a standard technique invented in the late 70s, early 80s. It only came out of patent fairly recently. Marching cubes is a way of visualizing ISO data. So it's referred to as ISO surface extraction. It's not something I made up. It's just a way of creating a ISO surface from data. Marching cubes is the one of the more famous ones. So marching cubes means instead of having a voxel landscape, you have a landscape that's got slopes. It's a little more complicated than that, but that's the basic upshot. It is a widely documented. See this image here? This image is the lookup table. You'll notice this lookup table appears again and 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 again. This is an entirely and widely used algorithm. Very, 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 very popular. Very, very well documented. Extremely obvious. Trivial to implement. You'll notice I pause at this point. And you also notice that not a single one of these screenshots has textures in it. That one does. Not a single one of these screenshots has non-organic screenshots in it. That's where I fall down. So all he's doing here is he's basically looking at the angle of it and saying the more straight it is, the more rock it is. That's fine. There is zero documentation on how you UV these, how you texture, nothing. No one's ever tackled it. Genuinely, it's not, there's nothing on it. Generating something that looks like that is easy. But if I want to have like a different color blotch there, I'm now at the point where I'm writing my own master's degree in marching cubes, which is way outside of my realm of expertise. So, however, if I only use marching cubes on things that don't have multiple textures, that should be fine. I can't guarantee, and hopefully it doesn't crash this time, I cannot guarantee you that we will be able to ship the game with marching cubes in it for everything. I'd love to say I can. I don't think I can. This is with marching cubes. I'm going to make it daytime so you can see. I said let's make it daytime. There we go. So this is marching cubes. So if you know what Fortresscraft looks like, you can see this is it with slopes. It looks great. I can also apply different amounts of smoothing. Again, really, this is something I'd like to give to a junior who doesn't have to do anything but that. But the moment I start trying to... And yes, when we've just got the land, that's fine. The colours bleed, that's absolutely fine. But then I'll put a yellow block there. Oh, that's not right. The top's right. And there's nothing on this. Absolutely nothing. Not a page, not a question, nothing. It's like I just wandered in something no one's ever done before. Now, as I said, I can apply different amounts of smoothing, so I can make things look even less blocky or more blocky. But now I think it's very likely cryo, sand, magma, water, hot resin will have marching cubes. So I can't promise I can make the landscape look like this. I can't promise I can make the resin look like this, but I think it's pretty likely I will have a separate rendering pass for all the resin, and the resin itself will look absolutely fine. But you can see the problem. If I put a block of yellow in, see very rapidly the system just doesn't know how to render it. It doesn't have any clue. Yeah, every game I've played with marching cubes has got, as you said, wacky textures. Astroneer avoids it by not having any textures. No Man's Sky does an excellent job on solving this, but No Man's Sky also is one of the best looking games I've ever played, so I'm not going to try and compete with a game that took, however it was, 4 years, 5 years for 25, 30 people. So I'm doing my best, it's just me. If by any reason, for any reason, you would like it not just to be me, if you think that this is a good enough game to warrant more people, the best thing you can do is become a Patreon. Patrons are very much one of the most important parts of getting this game out. I think it's very likely the game will come out. The more Patreon money I've got, the more likely I am to be able to get a better game. Fortresscraft Chapter 1 was a game I wrote on the Xbox 360. A friend of mine contacted Keemstar, who saw a game that he knew was going to do well and wanted to help promote it. Whether or not and how instrumental his influence was is impossible to say. However, that game went on to become the 7th best-selling digital title on the Xbox 360. It also went on to make $4.5 million, something like that. We worked on other titles together, which have not done anywhere near as well. I am technically working on a title with him called Nomancer. However, he hasn't done anything on that in about 6 months. I also released a game called How to Get Ahead in the Adpocalypse with him on mobile, which did very, very well. I released a fidget spinner game, which did very, very well. How do mobile games actually make money? Well, there are three ways. 1, you sell someone the game. 2, you give someone away the game and you have adverts. And 3, you give the game away and you have things to purchase from the game. Or any combination thereof. Unity has support for JavaScript, certainly. I wouldn't use it, but honestly, realistically as well, C# is the future. Java is definitely not. Yeah, I think you find used isn't Minecraft entirely C++ now? Two separate Minecraft apps, one that's supported and one that's not. I thought there was zero development on the old Java one. The Java one is behind because there's a unified one across all platforms, and then there's the one that's played by fuck all people, which is the PC version. I had this discussion with Direwolf. I had to point out to him that almost no one, relatively speaking, uses mods. He goes, no, most people use mods. I'm like, dude, most people don't even use the PC version of Minecraft. The PC version of Minecraft is something like 7% of the player base. It's almost no one. The mobile and console players far, far, far outstrip the PC ones. PC stopped being the primary platform so many years ago. And as far as I'm aware, the Java one is only the PC platform, which might be kept in parity. I don't think it is, as far as I know. But it's definitely not the one they care about because it's almost nothing. And don't forget, SBA, it is a little bit dodgy because they did give it away on Android for quite a long time. Percentage-wise, very few players play Minecraft on PC. It is not the biggest platform by far, and as far as I know, Java is only on PC. It's not on Windows 10. The Windows 10 version is C++ only. It's clung onto by the mod authors and no one else. I assume at least one person will write a mod for Fortresscraft, so I assume I probably should not break modding. Fortresscraft supports a whole bunch of different ways of modding. You can DLL inject, you can write C# code, but I actually provided a way for people to create new machines for the game that don't require any code. And I don't think anyone ever did it. Like, I put the mod up on the workshop and as an example of how to do it, and you literally just say, hey, I've created a machine and it requires 1000 power per second, and it takes in resin and it spits out gold bars or whatever. Like, you could just make a machine that takes any input or inputs you want, any amount of power you want, and outputs something. The point was, Esme, it wasn't that it was a useful mod, because it wasn't. The point was you could, with 3 files or something, create an entirely new machine. And that was awesome. So I made modding as easy as possible. That's the point. That's as easy as Doom modding at that point. And I don't think anyone ever really used it. I'm sure somebody did, but not many. I have a twofold problem. If it is a GAC that is only 1 block high, you can rotate it visually. If it is a GAC that is not, it becomes more difficult. So I create a cube. Pretend we've got a machine. So here, if I make that machine 3x3 so if I were to make that machine, you could rotate it quite happily. You could select the central block and rotate it, no problems. It becomes trickier because I will also be supporting machines in any arbitrary shape. So if I want to create a machine that looks like that, I will be able to create a multi-block crafting machine that looks like that. There should be no restrictions, apart from, there are the restrictions, it must be an odd number. With these machines, all of the generic autocrafters, we have the option / ability to make much more obvious setups, but they are still symmetrical, and that's a bit of a problem. So this is one of those things, it's not very exciting to work on, but when it is done, it will save a lot of time. One of Fortresscraft's beauties is that I can very, very much create new machines in a very short period of time. So I'll take our imaginary machine. Now, I would like to be able to have forced setups for location and stuff. I'm using the sword hopper to represent kind of what I mean. So I can have an in and an out, that's fine. However, the in and the out needs to be symmetrical because you cannot rotate the machine. So if I am having a machine like this, and it's got an input hopper and an output hopper. No, an input of some sort. Yeah, it looked like, well, let's say that's the output. Filters, I think, have got the right look. Partly why I'm explaining this, it's so you guys can go, hey, this is how you should do it. And I'll be like, oh man, you're brilliant. You'll be like, yeah. Rather than just me waffling on. And I understand that Dora is a distracting little darling. So imagine a machine that we're making, and the machine takes in materials and it can output materials. Now, I can allow the player to place them anywhere, or I can implement a system where the location of the inputs and outputs are forced. What do we think? So now imagine we've got a machine that, we'll take the research machine. So the research machine takes 4 inputs. That means I can do this. And that's pretty cool. Where's the middle? Down there. But because the machine has to be symmetrical, it'll have to look like that. Like, I will be able to specify the input locations. That's fine in the XML. Ugh. That might not be fun. It crosses my mind, if it's symmetrical, I could probably do it like that. So you can build multi-block GACs, or you will be able to build multi-block GACs in that orientation or that orientation. Not that one. So there or there. The question is, should I allow the player to feed in resources anywhere? Should I force the player only to allow resources to feed in that on the lowest row? Should I set up predetermined fixed locations for those resources? Now, I don't know. In a number of ways, forcing the location is the best. It does require the most work, though. One of the things I want to do in Fortresscraft is I want the correct setup to be visually correct. Yeah, the problem with fixed locations, because it has to be symmetrical. So you cannot rotate the machine. You can rebuild the machine in the other orientation. So if you build it, you're like, oh, no, that's right, you can rebuild it like that. But if the machine isn't symmetrical, so if I build it like this, you can't rotate it 180 degrees. You can only rotate it 90. You can do it like that, or you can do it like that. You can't do it like that. I'm kind of most concerned, really, about the assignment. So the gas bottle, you see, which is a non-generic machine. So I'm essentially recreating what this machine did. This is a better sort of example. Yeah, Andy, you never did this one, did you? Let's see what we can find. We've got, that looks like the Falcor charge the receiver. I've jammed a canister onto it, and on top of that, I've put a bomb base. So Andy never actually did this one. He was down to do it, but never did. So I've kit bashed this one, but it looks pretty good. It has to be symmetrical, yeah. Otherwise, I would need to have the player build every multi-block GAC out of at least 2 different materials in order to determine the front, or I would need to allow rotation afterwards, which is a non-trivial exercise. So in this case, I forced an input location, I believe. But I still found a lot of players got confused about this. Where should I plug it in? Let me just grab that as a better example a sec. While I'm doing it, I think I've decided, but I'm not sure. I'm genuinely not sure how I will program it in the XML. Yeah, we probably should have. Final Factory. First Factory actually made quite a lot of money, so we probably should have. Yeah, I suppose you've really got enough on at the minute, Andy, because at some point I need to start making a list of machines to redo. But I suspect that list will be beginning to end. Yeah, so what would happen to a degree is we'd have a machine that looks like this. So let's just say this machine is a bottle of some sort. So in this case, you connect a pipe there, but it can only offload to those 2 locations. Is that too? Does that work? Does that not work? If the layout was the layout will be non-symmetrical along. What's the term? It won't be rotationally symmetrical, but it will be axis symmetrical. I'm not prepared to do arbitrary shapes. If I say something's 3 by 4 by 3, There are only 2 possible things you can build like that. Oh god, no, Schalke. Can you imagine? That only works if any larger GAC does not contain any smaller GAC. Otherwise, whilst building the larger GAC, you'd accidentally complete the smaller one. This is like when you build massive rows of 3x3 of tier 4 batteries, and you accidentally get it wrong, and it finds a complete solution. Multiple tier rows for GACs is not a problem. I've solved that one to the best of my happiness. I am worried about the crapness of just machines that you just... I fixed so many errors, warnings in Fortresscraft last night as well. It's that sort of thing. Like, you know, people say to me, oh, you know, can you implement this new cool machine? And sometimes it's like, I'd like to, but I have to spend 10 hours doing nothing but fixing warnings in the code. I don't tend to stream the really tedious stuff because it's pretty tedious. Yeah, that we want a lot more rooms. People keep asking for room builders. I keep saying, building rooms is a low effort task. You know, it's fairly relaxing, but more importantly, it does take a bit of time. And it's quite important that it takes a bit of time because I need to find distractions for the player quite often. So the player needs to have plenty to do. Otherwise the player ends up watching the smelters. And that sucks. So whatever's going on in your base, no matter what, watching the smelter is not the best thing you can do. Even if you've got no resources, go and harvest plants. I really need to figure that bug out as well. Is it high specular? Oh, whatever. Yeah, I've just got to build a room. But yeah, it takes, even the biggest room, if you've got the paste, it takes what? 5 minutes. Usually what happens is you start to build the room and you run out of paste. At least for me, if it's a big room. If it's a small room, I've usually got the paste. But see, I've had people ask for the room builders, but I don't think so. Because I like the fact that your player spends 5 minutes making the room, and in that 5 minutes all the smelters are working, the ore extracts are working, and when they're done they're like, hey, this thing's done something. Well, I still see people, a lot of people, they're waiting for bars, so you go and they're unable to sort of prioritize doing 2 things at once. So, you know, I need to build a such a machine, but while I'm waiting, I shouldn't just wait for that machine. I should build another machine or get some resources for something else, or, you know, whatever. What you shouldn't do is just wait for that one thing. And building rooms inherently means the player... I mean, they're doing the voxel thing. They're doing the creative buildy thing. I think a lot of the players who do want the room building machine, they've either played it an awful lot or they've never built any rooms. And I've... What this is going to appear when I look at it. Yeah, I need to work out what that is. Yeah, well, 50k, that's the thing, Vera. You're like, I've got 50k pace, let's build this big room. Oh, man, I don't have enough by far now. But it's not as if building rooms is difficult. Like, it's quite obvious what's wrong. Devtron, if you don't have enough resources to do more than one thing at a time, yes, you do. You can go and hand dig coal. You can dig up plants. You can flatten areas for your base. You can build rooms. You always have stuff to do. You should always be producing more than you can use. Always. Like, if you have nothing to do, if you literally have nothing to do, ping, listen for that crystal, and go crystal hunting. There's never a point at which you, well, maybe if you're really super out of power, but nearly always you've got time for that. Are you that low on resources? Go dig up some big rocks. Big rocks, oh that's, big rocks drop tin and copper. Yeah, so I mean, you've always got stuff to do. It's not fair to say you have to wait on the game, ever. There is always... Ooh, it's finished. There's always something else you can do. Yes, but if you're waiting for it to smelt, go and get some lenses. Does that make sense what I'm saying? There's never a point at which you have to wait. There's never a point at which the only thing you're waiting on is a bar. You might be waiting on a bar in order for something you want, but there's definitely something else you can do. Realistically, I do like doing the rooms as well. This is the bit of Terraria I kind of liked as well, was building rooms for your NPCs. You've got to the bit in the game where you can build rooms. You got something to do. If you haven't got to the bit where you can create rooms, maybe you don't. But either, hopefully, the player will get to the point he's building a room, and while he builds room, his smelting operation is building up. His paste operation is doing stuff. You know, it's that sort of thing. You should always, I think, be able to. I purposely didn't let you automatically create it because it gave you something to do. So any time that someone comes to me saying, "Hey, I have nothing to do. I'm waiting for the smelter," I like build some rooms. I'm like, "Oh, I didn't think of that." The incentive in Fortresscraft 2 for building rooms, you don't have a choice, is a lot of it. You have to build them. I'm not going to incentivize you. I will tell you it has to be done. And then I will weather the complaints on the forum, because I'm sure there will be plenty. So this multi-block machine, can be built in any sort of, it can be built in one or two arrangements. I mean, I can make you build a room just simply by going, you need this machine to progress, it goes in a room, build a room. I don't have to be subtle about it. Robot arms only work inside a room, is my point. You have to build a room for them. I'm going to be doing this for a lot of other things. I mean, right now, my mission is explore the surface, build a room. Right now, I can build a hopper there, and it looks fine. It works fine, it just looks stupid. Or I can build a hopper there. Still stupid. But if I require Andy to make all of the GACs pretty much fill up the base, that doesn't look stupid. So what I might do is I might require GACs to only allow, except under maybe certain circumstances, only allow input and output from the bottom rung. So you can't, we're back to the conveyors, but it means you can't go like that, implement the input and output locations in code, and then explain them to the player. The machines have to be symmetrical. That is not an option. They must be symmetrical. And that becomes an issue because then you'll always have an input and an output. You'll always input from one pair of sides and output from the other pair of sides. I'm coming. Yeah, it came out in March last year. Of course it counts. If you can pay them money and you get to play the game, it's launched. Also, Shaka, where did you get early access from? Early access is 100% a Steam term. Right, they've only done 3 updates too. Tired of people saying this looks like a first-person Minecraft, a first-person Factorio. It's like, there is a first-person Factorio. It's Fortresscraft. Talk about that one. We got this again. We got no press coverage at all. I really love the sunset. Right, Detron, I have not played a Gran Turismo game in a long time. Vieira, even I know that Greg Tech is not a mod for Minecraft. Greg Tech is a balance mod for a bunch of other mods. Well, Shaka Satisfactory is naughty and shouldn't be using Steam terms on the Epic Store. You know, Fortresscraft does have a mode called Greg, which we should probably rename for Fortresscraft 2. I'm going to make a note on that. I don't play Minecraft mods. I generally don't talk about Minecraft mods, as I am tired of being accused of copying stuff. Even more when I got accused of copying a mod I didn't play. Totally, I hadn't even heard of it. So I was like, oh, you copied this from blah, 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 blah mod. And I was like, huh? And I had a quick poke and I'm like, dude, they copied it from us. And there was another one. I want to say Thormic Bees. It was a magic mod of some sort. And the author, he fucking loves Fortresscraft. And he asked me, can I copy the grappling hook for the wand? And I'm like, absolutely you can. That's what you mean. Our grappling hook was inspired in part by Bionic Commando. And less so to Terraria. And I got accused of copying. He goes, oh, you know, you've just copied the wand, the grapple wand from this mod. And I was like, dude, he copied it from me. And he asked. But I do have what's called plausible deniability. I'm not just, I haven't played that in ages. I can, with outlying at all, I can just say, I have never played that. I have never heard of what you're talking about. I know nothing about it. Either they copied me, which is possible, or it is pure and total coincidence. Or in some cases, it's blatantly the only way you could ever have done it. I got accused of copying Minecraft because I'm like, what do you mean? They go, well, you've got, say it's right, you've got green grass and blue sky. I'm like, dude, have you been outside ever? Yeah, that's fine. I mean, he asked me. I'm like, sure, dude, go for it. Built to me. It's not ours. I'll give you a pretend biscuit if you can tell me where we copied our Built to me from. Because it was not an original idea by us. It wasn't even something I myself. Andy linked to me. I was like, holy shit! I said, that's brilliant. I'm nicking that. You'll laugh when I tell you, because it is a game of infamy. Not Castle Miner. No, come on. What is the most infamous of the voxel games? You know, after Fortresscraft. Which voxel game promised everything and delivered nothing, apart from Starforge, which promised everything and then kind of failed to release properly. Big famous Kickstarter. No. The thing of it is, yeah, realistically, No Man's Sky promised nothing, and then everyone assumed that it was, and then was disappointed when it didn't. Very odd. This is why Kickstarters keep coming up, because you guys, no offense, guys, you have got short fucking memories. Oh, DjArcas, yes. What was the DjArcas game called? I actually got on quite well with the dev of that. Only there wasn't a dev, he was an artist, and oh my god, DjArcas threw him under a fucking bus. Seriously. But he was an idiot. They promised everything, asked for no money at all, and then they specced out like 10 years worth of work in 6 months, and then in 6 months they failed to even hire a programmer. And the voxel system they used, the author said, you're not using that in that game, I want some of the money. They had the Build to Me system. I'm like, holy shit, that's brilliant, that's just genius. And it was easy, it was so obvious. But I'm afraid one of the coolest features in Fortresscraft was stolen, inspired by, but at least our game came out. They made $500,000 and failed to ship the game. They had so much lovely hand painted concept art, looked really good, but I broke it down technically with how much they were promising. Full modding API, fully fledged crafting system, physics engine, unique avatars, randomly generated worlds, randomly generated loot, randomly generated weapons, and it's like, oh dude, oh no. But yeah, they literally pissed all the money up the wall. In some ways their own fault, and in some ways it's kind of not. But yeah, they spent $35,000 on concept art. Environments. They spent $35,000 on character concept art. $35,000. That's one guy full-time for 6 months. Then, so let me get straight. They spent $70,000 on concept art and $35,000 on programming. This was brilliant. So what happened here? Never give Kickstarter your money. What happened is he paid the concept artist $35,000, who then got a job and said he can't work on it and didn't give the money back. He didn't bother getting it in writing. Oh yeah, and they paid $150,000 to DjArcas, who then didn't spend any of it. And if you were a backer of this, you got Tug for free, which obviously they stopped that a long time ago. Short-term memories. Infiniminer was not much of a game, really. It was just a deathmatch game. Do you mean Infiniminer? There's Infinifrag, was the first one. And Infiniminer, I don't actually remember Infiniminer. Wasn't it still just a deathmatch game? I can't remember, it's been so long. To be fair, Esmir, I've stopped hearing Minecraft clone. People don't bother saying it anymore. I have had very odd things. So stuff like people... I was at an event and there were about 20 indies, of which 7 or 8 were Minecraft clones. And we would get people say to me, "Is this Minecraft?" What? No. Is it modded Minecraft? I'm like, no. I said, have you not been to any of the other stands? Oh yeah, we've seen all the indie games here. All right. Did you ask 8 people, is this Minecraft, and get the answer no, and continue to just ask, is it Minecraft? I would always get teenage boys standing behind me, and one would go to it could just be one way. He'd go Minecraft to his mate. That's what he'd say. Not this looks like Minecraft. This is just Minecraft. Like Minecraft invented anything. I've had this argument so much, and the one that I've always said is, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Minecraft invented nothing. Minecraft has 0 original features. Fortresscraft has 1, and that's 1 more than Minecraft, which has 0. What makes the game is not the original features, it's how you put them together. Films don't make up new words. Well, sometimes they do, but you know, they use all the words we've got. But that, you know, you wouldn't say, oh, I'm not going to watch a film unless it's got a new thing. Oh, what Notch says is irrelevant there. Notch says whatever he likes, depending on whether or not it's suited him. So I mean, Empyrean and music. All I know about Empyrean, again, I don't play other people's games as a rule. I try when I play games to play games that are outside of the genre I am writing. All I know about Empyrean is they bought a lot of the same Unity Store asset packs as we did. And it's hilarious because they, unlike us, didn't even bother changing the fucking textures. They look familiar, lads. How about, no, not that one. Where's the one? Can't, show me the image. Yeah, so did we. There you go. See, there's in the cold cavern. There's our things. But that's fine. Using Unity Source is fine. Unless you have the money, which it's a lot cheaper to use both. But yeah, they use exactly the same plant pack as we did. But we changed our textures. They didn't. That game has made so much more money than we have, so it's not as if I can really sag it off. But I'm pretty sure it's more than one person. Fortresscraft's biggest problem really is that I am the bottleneck more than anything else. But we absolutely don't have the money to pay more people. There's your Minox. Well, actually, no, they're not Minox, they're glow pods, sorry. That's the stuff we use as the rocks, the giant things. And some others from the same pack. But yeah, they use a lot of it. It does look very nice. That looks great. Do they still work? Is it still being developed? No, not really. Oh no, yes they do. Yes they do. But you know, more power to them. They did better than we did. Fortresscraft kind of. The problem was it got to the point where I couldn't generate the content quickly enough, and I couldn't go back and rework stuff. I just didn't have the time. Whereas these guys have made a lot more money and have a lot more people. I'm not worried about that for the minute. Again, hopefully at some point someone wants to start working on mods for Fortresscraft Phoenix before it's out. So when it comes out, there's some mods. And at that point, I will worry about it. And that's awesome. Because Fortresscraft, I think, will primarily be about non-one block machines. I want to try and learn from the mistakes of Fortresscraft. And one of them was... A lot of people gave up playing Fortresscraft before they actually got very far into it. And one of the things that we realised quite early on, is why we changed to a new type of CPH, is that people were quitting the game before they had built the lab. Now the lab was the first multi-block machine. And it surprised me that so few people have got that far, but people were finished not playing the game at all, thinking that every machine in the game was 1 by 1 by 1 by 1 by 1. That surprised me, and that was the solution. So I would like to have more and more and more multi-block machines in Fortresscraft to be able to do that. Yeah, I like that idea. I like that. So sometimes I stop halfway through my sentence because I'm like, you know what? That's a great idea. Yeah, Risk. So basically, the way I expect or hope people to play is you play the game through, get all the achievements that you care about, or all the achievements, and then go, right, I want to play it again with mods. A lot of the achievements in Fortresscraft are designed as tutorials. So if you go, I've played the whole game, I've completed everything. Quite often I say, I looked at your achievements, you've done 12% of stuff. It's very, very, very difficult to complete all the achievements in Fortresscraft. Very, very difficult. And not many people have managed it, so there's plenty to do. If you want to play mods, that's fine. I highly recommend you don't do your first playthrough of mods, because there are a bunch of tutorial stuff based on the mods. But if you want to, based on achievements, if you want to, that's fine. And I apologise if you watch my streams regularly, because I do say the same things every week. The reason that I do so is because if I didn't, the most popular mod would be called Unlock All the Achievements. It's not an achievement at that point. I don't mind if you use mods. It's not like I don't think you should or I'm against it. It's purely that I wanted to make sure that when people compare off achievements they have done, that it was, as much as I can, a fair based thing. If you really want to get all the achievements, there are a number of ways of getting it. One of the easiest ones is just to join somebody else's multiplayer world that's an endgame world, and you get loads of stuff quite quickly. And you'll get so many achievements just by joining an endgame world. As a rule, I don't care how you're playing the game as long as you're enjoying it. What I do care about, and I do have a problem with, is when people play the game wrong and complain they're not enjoying it, or it takes too long. And then I just sort of look at them going, don't play it like that. I want to play it like this. But you're not having fun. Yeah, but this is how I always play it. Right, but if you're not having fun, you should play it differently. I don't understand. So, play the games you want. I don't care. If you're not having fun, play it in a different way. 150 hours, you're just a beginner. A lot of what I'm hoping with Fortresscraft 2 is that I will not necessarily add more content, but players will be happier to stay around for the content that there is. That's kind of more my goal. So you will be able to, there'll be more to do, more content, more value, but not necessarily more machines. I mean, an example is I'm planning on reworking the way conveyors, and tier 3 conveyors are paintable. I don't know if Andy, if you remember those really lovely ones that somebody modelled. Yeah, sorry, you can place them on the wall and the ceiling. That's fine, but you know, don't expect to be able to do that in Fortresscraft 2. It's exactly that sort of shit that I want to avoid in Fortresscraft 2. And Compugasm's right. It'd be awesome if we had those, but I don't have the bandwidth to start implementing huge amounts of new machines. When you're building that could be replaced with 3 slopes. It's not as if you're saving much stuff. So for science, if you're playing Fortresscraft and you play it to complete the Frozen Factory and you do it in less than 200 hours, I would be very, very impressed. Yeah, Devtron, research setups are irrelevant for Fortresscraft 2 because that is completely changing. This is the thing. This is why I got pissed off at CompuGasm last night, because he was busy telling me how it was wrong without ever having played the new one. There are some radical changes coming for the new Fortresscraft, and he wasn't taking that into account. So as I said, your research setup is irrelevant. But Devtron, you understand why that's a bad idea in a whole number of reasons, don't you? I can explain to you why that's a bad idea in a whole number of ways if you disagree. Fortresscraft will be different. It's cool. It's nicely compact, but oh god, is that a low-ass way of rendering stuff. I also genuinely like the idea of these powered conveyors for an early game device to make stuff easier. It is compact. That's bad. It works for you. That's bad in multiplayer. If you were to, let's say, accidentally in some way connect a conveyor up there and get nickel down on this line, you have no way of fixing it because you can't get in. Non-serviceable machines are generally, in my opinion, bad. If they work perfectly, great. Importantly, I'm definitely planning on having a faster multi-block stamper first. Secondly, this is not a valid setup for Fortresscraft 2. There is no concept of a single place for research pods. Research pods are clearly broken into 3 tiers. Very different setup. But you have done a good job in making a compact setup using Fortresscraft 1. But Fortresscraft 2 is not Fortresscraft 1. I'm not going to make the game enormously different, but I cannot just have it as Fortresscraft 1 again. I've played a lot of multiplayer Fortresscraft, and sometimes people make sorting setups are like 20 blocks aside and you can't get in there, and it works until it doesn't work. Patch 6 screenshots. Wow, we've had combat spiderbots since patch 6, Falcors since patch 6, mod support came in patch 6. Wow. This is the thing I say, a lot of people still think Fortresscraft looks like this. This is why a lot of why we want to ship Fortresscraft again, in a manner of speaking. Because a lot of people still think that Fortresscraft is still this, which is how it was 5-6 years ago. But yeah, Fortresscraft has come a long way since this game, and the quarries are awesome. I do want to bring quarries back, because if you've never built a quarry, you're missing out. They are sweet, but they would need to be rewritten as a multi-block machine. The quarries are a solution looking for a problem. The only good use of quarries is if you need a lot of paste. Tier 2 tubes. Yeah, there they are. I think that might be the original. The render looked great, and I looked at it and went, I want to do a whole game in that graphic style. Yeah, the quarries they're just not very useful. They also have the problem that if I made them good, I would have just basically made all other logistics of the game irrelevant, and the game would have just been tech rush to quarries and sort stuff. No, it could be done. I have done it, but you require a very, very fast sorting system. Robot arms would be awesome. Like 100 meters of robot arms pulling stuff off to minimize. I'll wait for it to get back to me. They were really good, and I would love to get those in as the tier 3 ones. Bit the bullet, yeah. Basic conveyors will get half as fast. Conveyors will get half as fast. Tier 2 conveyors will get half as fast. To balance this, almost everything else in the game also gets half as demanding. But right now, I've hit the limit of how fast I can push conveyors. Massive rebalance. There we go, there we go. I love that. Sorry, the cat's moved. You don't need to remind me anything anymore. That's the potential plans for the fastest conveyors. And to be fair, I hate the tier 2 conveyors. I quite like tier 1s. I hate tier 2s. I might also allow paintable tier 1s. It may be these are only paintable with Dapper. I have not made any DLC decisions yet. It is, let's say for sake of argument, it's 10 hours work to implement these conveyors. It is 15 hours of work if they are paintable. So when people complain about me going, oh, you've locked features away behind DLC, that is because it costs extra time to implement that feature. Yeah, that looks glorious. Good spot. I would very much like to replace the tier 2 stuff, and I'd like to have another tier above that. Jesus Christ. $3.8 million. $3.8 million for a board game Kickstarter. Oh god, it comes with an app. Oh god, no. Yeah, and I got some like Lego minifigs off my last birthday. I should probably actually organise a public wish list, like buy Projector games, these things, and you know, because I do want to sort out getting what's that streaming Stadia at some point. But yeah, it's silly because you can get exactly the same thing that's Chromecast compatible for a whole 17 quid. Factorio, Satisfactory, all of those, they kept on having like weekly like trailers made, like short trailers, just going, hey, here's where the game's at. Look at this cool new feature. It's a shame that we can't do a similar sort of thing reliably. Videos people want to watch, videos people want to share, just to let people know. Because I'm still constantly being asked, oh, or say, oh, you're working on Fortresscraft 2? It's like, dude, I've been talking about this for a year and a half. And there's a Fortresscraft 2 channel, and I tweet about it, and the question is, and it's a very difficult question to ask. Let's say I spend 2 days a week developing Fortresscraft, and I will ship Fortresscraft, and I will make $1 million. Now let's say I spend 1 day a week developing Fortresscraft, and 1 day a week making trailers for Fortresscraft, which I can do. It's within my skill set. Will I make... That means you ship a game that has had half the development time. So instead of 100 days of game dev, you have 50 days of game dev and 50 days of trailers. So the game itself has had 50% of the development time. The question is, and this is a difficult question to answer, will that make more than $1 million, or will that make less than $1 million? And I have a horrible feeling I know the answer. And I have a horrible feeling the answer is more. Satisfactory did not sell on the basis of the game. Satisfactory sold on the basis of the trailer and the art, both of which were superb. Yeah, E3 2018. Like, absolutely superb trailer.
Like, very well done. Very, very polished. Definitely, definitely. This is the thing. If you actually look at this, you know, that looks quite familiar. Up there. And yeah, it's cool, but that looks a bit like our one. Better, but oh, and that ping. That's a familiar ping, isn't it? But this is brilliant. This stuff is so well animated and so good. And that looks bad, but hey, whatever kind of thing. It just looks so good. All of it does. Wow, just. But that comes from the art, not the gameplay. And you look at this, and it looks fantastic. Well, I mean, I'm not sure anyone ever got a factory like that, but it looks really, really good. And I would love Fortresscraft to be the same game it is, but look as good as this. The problem is, as I said, that Satisfactory is quite a shallow game, and this level of graphic fidelity does not come without a performance cost. And yeah, when I saw how you have to do the automated vehicles, you have to like plan a route and then they'll follow the route, and I'm like, oh, screw that. So yeah, so when I saw that screenshot there, I was like, holy moly, that's never gonna run like that. There's no, and I was just so right. But it's sold on the basis of very pretty graphics. It shows nothing about the gameplay whatsoever. All it shows is huge amounts of beautiful art doing beautiful things and nothing about the game. And then got viewed nearly 1 million times. Factorio 3D! Now this is the problem. Fortresscraft isn't pop enough. Oh, wait. Oh, I fucking take it back. I fucking love you guys. Far too much grinding. Fuck off. I take it back. You're awesome. But more of that needs to happen. More people going, well, this evolved. Fortresscraft evolved. Fortresscraft evolved. Fortresscraft evolved. And it's not so. Fortresscraft looks shit and plays shit. Unsatisfactory that game. Thanks, dude. This is probably Factorio only in 3D and other target. No, this is modded Minecraft, but with better graphics. Yeah, I haven't. Deep Rock Galactic was another one that, oh, the trailer was great. Volcanoids, again, you look at it going, holy shit, that looks great. And then you realise the trailer is literally the money shot and there's nothing else to it. And that's a shame. Fortresscraft, on the other hand, is the opposite. You go, oh, this looks shit. This isn't very good. And 20 hours later, you're like, oh my god, I haven't even scratched the surface. It was DjArcas was the first film to spend more on the marketing than on the film. It made more money than anyone could possibly conceive a film would have made at that point. Computer games are generally the same thing. More money is spent on the development of the marketing than the game. That, honestly, angers me quite a lot. I would like that not to be the case. I'd very much like it. So if you have $10 million to spend on your game, you don't spend any on marketing. You know, you don't need to. You spend it all on the game. Realistically, if I had $1 million in the bank to write a game with, I should probably put half of it onto marketing. I like Sucker Punch. I don't care what you say. There's a bit where a lady in a short skirt and stockings uses a giant sword to fight a robot samurai ninja with a fucking minigun. That doesn't make you happy? Sir, there is no helping you. For those who are not reading chat, he says, oh, it makes me happy, just not in a way I want to be surrounded by other men in a theatre. What I may say, I like Left 4 Dead, but I don't like the concept of the game. Like, I like Left 4 Dead, and I played Left 4 Dead. But because there's no progression, once I played it once, I was like, whatever. Deep Rock Galactic, I thought it was going to be something very different to what it was, which is essentially Left 4 Dead. You go into a level with 3 other people, you hope to complete it, and when you're done, fail or lose, you just do the same again. There's no progression, there's no story, there's no A to B, and it's short rounds. So I generally, in my games, I like games where I can be in the world with my friends. Fortresscraft is a good example. Terraria is a good example. Borderlands, to a degree. But mostly that's what I want in my games, is to be in a world with my friends. So I'll add these for I'm not expecting to happen in a hurry. Just so we do. Otherwise I'll forget and then we'll ship the game and I'll go like, oh yeah. It's still I'm still getting the cave drips. Make a note on that one. Short term. Move cave drips from base. Achievement trophies. Yeah, so that's one thing I want to do. I want in the base on the wall somewhere to have trophies based on achievements. If you've played Dungeon Defenders, you know exactly what I'm stealing. So Dungeon Defenders is a tower defense game that I would thoroughly love to play some more. Great game, really enjoy it. Super horrible issues in mid to late game progression. So you need like level 200 armor to complete the level, and then as a reward you get level 180 armor, which is not how progression is supposed to work. But it does have one thoroughly brilliant little feature. In Dungeon Defenders, which you can see, good. You get your home, which is this this little tavern, and it's really cool. It's your cool little tavern. But as I wander around my tavern, I notice Esmir Trendy sued the Ark developers because they stole code and developers from them in violation of their contracts. So here I have trophies for getting achievements. And then, isn't that cool? And then over here, I should just sit on the side of Dungeon Defenders here, Trendy, because the other guys, they absolutely violated their contracts. No ifs, no buts, they absolutely did. And they did use code from Dungeon Defenders in another project, which you just don't do that. But yeah, so completing certain things on certain characters gives you stuff in your house. So you can actually show off to people, hey, look, I killed whatever this is. That's Ursula, I think it was. No, that's the underwater lady. And I'd like to have a little bit of that Fortresscraft. So, you know, what level you've reached, stuff you found, and a bit like this. Probably not as, what's the word, clunky as trophies, but I like the idea overall of having the rewards for stuff you've done around your base, whatever those rewards are. Here's so they added so many. This is all the new stuff I've not played. All the new stuff's geared up for like 4 and 8 players, unfortunately. But yeah, I love the visuals of this game. This is what makes me happy. Bright, garish colours is exactly what I want. Yeah, they expanded the tavern. It means it takes a lot longer to walk to places now. So not necessarily very smart. It's much easier for me just to turn on an object than it is to allow the players to pick up an object and collide with it and move it around and all those sort of things. It would be stuff inside the hub. There's plenty of room inside the hub. Like, you know, there's plenty of room along this wall, that wall, in here. This could be manufacturing challenges. This could be suit challenges. This could be research challenges. I don't know. This is just the fundamental plans. Whether or not they actually change is a different question. What's supposed to be the dark room is your research area, so you don't get access to that yet because I've not progressed that far in the game. In here is the suit upgrading area. With the suit upgrade system, will be there. This is the research and power area. So there's your free power. Not much, but it's free. There's your research bay. In here is the med bay, which is not a good med bay, but it's a med bay, and that is the refinery. You've got a little smeltery thing going on there. And in here is your crafting area with the new crafting plants. These are quite funky. So I can see that one's full, that's out of power, that's out of power, that's full. And in the dark room, there isn't anything. I'm curious what the lighting's setting on that one. So this will be where you control research somehow. How a lot of this is going to work, I don't know yet. Today's plan was to do thing, and it's totally not gone according to plan. I don't have anything against the Witcher game. It's partly not really my sort of game, and mostly I don't have time to play it. I will also try and stream again on Friday, because I know that you guys want to see progress on this. I definitely want to see progress on this. Just as ever, my reminders: if you're not a patron and you can afford to be one, it is enormously helpful. Please do. Thank you. I love you. If you have bought Nomancer, please write a review. We are still, we don't have a review rating. You'll say we'll have one now, and it'll be Dora. You can, please. Nearly everyone likes it. This guy is an idiot. Brilliant. It's not a twin stick shooter because you have to press the A button. Try using the other stick. So thank you for watching, guys. And remember, if you do watch these videos back, let me know. I don't know if anybody watches them. I don't know if I'm wasting my time worrying about people watching the video back. So please let me know. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your feedback. And I will see you, hopefully, on Friday for the next Fortresscraft Friday. Take care, guys. Thanks for watching.